Today we are going to learn about iron deficiency anemia. The name itself suggests that this type of anemia is caused due to deficiency of iron. Iron deficiency anemia is the most common nutritional disorder in the world, and it results in the signs and symptoms which are caused due to the inadequate synthesis and release of hemoglobin in the body. This type of anemia is the most common form in the whole world. Mostly, this type of anemia is seen in toddlers, adolescent girls, and women of childbearing age. So that we can say that this type of anemia it occurs in the children and girls from age of almost from 12 to 28 years of age. Normal diet contains about 10 to 20 milligrams of iron in the diet. Total body iron content is normally about 2.5 grams in females and 6 grams in males. Iron is an essential part of hemoglobin. Now we'll see about hemoglobin. Hemoglobin resides in RBCs. This is the structure of hemoglobin. As you can see that hemoglobin contains two chains of alpha globulins and two chains of beta globulins. The iron which is present inside the hemoglobin is majorly responsible for oxygen carrying in the body. This is the normal structure of hemoglobin. Now, from this structure, we can say that hemoglobin contains four heme groups which are surrounded by a globin group and four molecules of iron. The iron here it binds with the oxygen and helps the blood to carry it. So one molecule of hemoglobin binds to four molecules of oxygen. So we can see in hemoglobin, iron plays the major role in binding with oxygen and carrying it to the several tissues. Hence, if iron levels are lowered inside the body, then oxygen carrying capacity of the blood too is lowered, and hence due to this, the person is going to show the symptoms of anemia. Now we'll take a closer look at iron metabolism. Iron is lost from the body through various routes. The first one is through shedding of the skin. You all know that each day, every moment, we shed some part of our skin. So, iron is lost through that way. The second thing is through shedding in the GIT and through sweat. So, this total loss consists of about 1 milligram per day. So, this losses they need to be replaced by the diet. In our body, iron is replaced by two ways. The first one is through the ingestion of foods containing iron, and the second is through recycling of the iron from the senescent RBCs. As you all know, that RBC's lifespan is almost about 90 to 120 days. So after that, the cells they undergo apoptosis. During this period, the hemoglobin is also recycled and the iron from that hemoglobin is utilized by the cells for um, production of new hemoglobin molecules. So we can say that normal RBC it releases hemoglobin and it is used for recyclation of the iron. Now we'll see there are different forms of iron in the diet. The first form is called as heme iron. Heme iron it comes from animal products and it is in ferrous or Fe+2 form. The second class of iron in the diet is non-heme iron. It comes from plant-based foods like all the green leafy vegetables that you have, the nuts which you ingest in the food, in the form of food, that those all contains non-heme iron. So this you have to remember that non-heme iron it comes in the form of Fe+3 form. In our body, in the digestive juices, we have ferric reductase, which is responsible for conversion of this ferric Fe+3 form of the iron into ferrous, that is Fe+2 form in the body. Okay. Now, when you see that uh, food is the source of iron in the body, at that time there occurs breakdown of that food in the stomach, and the iron is released. Okay, now as you all know that inside the food, the iron, it is available in the two forms. The first one is heme form and the second one is non-heme form. The iron contains Fe plus 2. Okay, now this Fe plus 2 is directly stored in using ferritin. Okay, but this non-heme iron, it is present in the form of Fe plus 3. So before it is absorbed in the body, the ferric reductase which is present in the gastric juice, it reduces this Fe plus 3 to Fe plus 2. Now this Fe plus 2 is stored using ferritin. Now whenever there is need of iron inside the body, the Fe plus 2, the ferrous form of iron which is present in the ferritin, it is released and it moves through the blood. At this point again, hepastin, it is an enzyme in the body, it converts Fe plus 2 to Fe plus 3. Now this ferric form of the iron, it again combines with a transporter, that is transferrin. Okay, now this transferrin combines with Fe plus 3 and it helps in the movement of Fe plus 3 to the target tissues. Now in the target tissues, either the iron gets stored along with ferritin or it is utilized for production of hemoglobin. Now we'll see iron deficiency anemia, how it is developed. Okay, depending on the reason that for the development of iron deficiency, there are four reasons. The first one is increased blood loss, which can occur due to any type of injury or in menstruating women. The second is increased requirements. This increased requirement is mostly seen in teenager children, because the body demands for more need of iron, and also the requirement is increased in case of pregnant women. Then the third reason is inadequate dietary intake that occurs in case of undernourished persons, and the fourth is decreased intestinal absorption. At the outset of negative iron balance, reserves in the form of ferritin, they are adequate to maintain the normal hemoglobin and hematocrit levels as well as normal serum iron level. Still, on further progression, there is lowered levels of serum iron without anemia symptoms. So our body has a mechanism that it has the capacity to store the iron. Whenever the body does not get proper iron in proper requirement, at that time the ferritin reserves, they are used, and the iron which is stored in the form of ferritin, that is utilized in the production of hemoglobin. So whenever there is decreased intake or there is decreased absorption of iron, mm, you do not get the symptoms immediately, because our body, it have that reserves, and until and unless those reserves are utilized and finished, our body is not going to show you the symptoms. Okay, so at this point there is increased erythrocyte activity in the bone marrow. Anemia occurs when there is completely depleted iron stores. At this point, iron serum level, ferritin and transferrin saturation level is decreased. Despite the cause, iron deficiency results into no hemoglobin production. So in our bone marrow, there is production of normal RBC. So when there is sufficient intake of iron inside the body, normal RBCs is produced. But when the body is deficient of iron, at that time, hemoglobin is not produced normally, and hence there is no normal production of RBCs. Instead, that the hemoglobin levels is reduced, and due to this microcytic RBCs are produced. Microcytic means these are little shrinked form of RBCs. This type of anemia hence is also called as hypochromic anemia. So iron deficiency anemia is called as microcytic hypochromic anemia. Low iron levels results into decreased synthesis of hemoglobin, which results into less oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, and it ultimately results into tissue hypoxia. Now, tissue hypoxia, it signals the bone marrow to increase the production of RBCs. It becomes inefficient because it is deficient of iron. So the marrow, it produces incomplete RBCs and gives various shaped RBCs. So if there is decreased levels of iron, there is depleted some enzymes causing ATP depletion, and it affects the growth of normal RBC. Now we'll see about the symptoms. There are two types of symptoms. First one is typical symptom. The major symptom is pallor, palpitation, fatigue, and shortness of breath. There are some specific symptoms which include koilinchkia, that means spoon-shaped nails, alopecia, that is hair loss, and pica, means in pica there is strong feeling of to eat um, non-food items. Like in most of the cases, the person, he might feel to eat soil. He have a craving to eat the pencils of the slates which are used on the slates. So that particular symptom is called as pica. There might occur Plummer-Vinson syndrome, that is glossitis and esophageal web formation, etc. Now we'll see some diagnostic tools. Iron deficiency anemia is diagnosed by carrying out some lab test. For example, if the hemoglobin level is reduced below 13.5 grams in males, and if it is reduced below 11.5 grams per dl in females, then at that time we can say that this particular patient is suffering from anemia. If now the second test is to detect mean corpuscular volume if there is low serum iron and low ferritin level. What is increased in the body is total iron binding capacity and amount of unbound transferrin in the blood. So using this we can detect that if the person is suffering from anemia. Now we'll look about the treatment. Now the first treatment involves addressing the cause. What is the major cause? If it is deficiency due to blood loss, or if it is deficiency due to inadequate absorption, at that time you have to address the cause. The second thing is you can go for oral iron supplements. Ferrous sulfate tablets are given along with orange juice because the acid, it helps to increase the absorption of ferrous sulfate. Intravenous iron can also be used. In severe cases, blood transfusion is done. Thank you.